Hi there, and welcome to the Anita Chat podcast. I'm your host, Anita Rombo, and this is the podcast for growth-oriented women to have authentic, real talk. Nothing is off the table here, but as an intuitive self-relationship coach, you'll find the content gravitates towards mindset, intentional action, spirituality, and all things wellness. So if you're ready to learn, laugh, show up, and glow up to be the best version of yourself, grab your favorite bevy, settle in, and we've got lots to chat about. Hello, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Anita Chat. I think it's a great time to do a check-in with ourselves for many reasons, and this chat today is all about some of my tried and true methods to do just that. And I'll be taking some messages and lessons from previous chats and bringing them together as part of our check-in. And so in some ways, this feels like a good full circle conversation. If you're a corporate girl or familiar with the corporate culture, you know that next week is the start of Q2, or the second quarter of the year. And wow, did that first quarter seem to fly by. Many businesses at this point in time are busy assessing their progress against their yearly forecasts and course correcting as required. Now, if you are more of a soul sister than a corporate girl, you may be aware that the Aries new moon is coming up on Friday, April the 1st. And this is a time of new beginnings and fresh starts, and is equivalent to a new year from an astrological perspective. So I hope you can see, no matter which perspective you take, that this is a great time to take stock, check in, reflect, and course correct. I know this speaks to all my love languages of spreadsheets and planning and lunar cycles, astrology, and all things esoteric. I totally geek out on all of those things. So I'm in a very happy spot at the moment. And let's get right into it. If you tune into episodes 1 and 2 of Anita Chat, we talked about how to make the New Year's resolutions stick and habits and routines in general. And side note, those are very popular episodes. So if you haven't had a chance to tune into them, I highly recommend you check them out, or maybe even revisit them again as part of this exercise. Those 2 episodes were released to coincide with the beginning of the new year because I really wanted to support people in hitting the ground running at a time where people typically set some visions or objectives related to what they would like to accomplish during the year. And maybe you're going full steam against those goals in January, but now is typically the time where some of our progress starts to fade or stop altogether. And even if you didn't set anything in January, I want you to know that it's never too late to start. So we don't need to wait for New Year to create change or work towards something. So if you feel like you're in this boat, I want you to know that you can absolutely do this quarterly check-in. And if you are looking for some inspiration or ideas, feel free to download my free, powerful, but simple guide entitled The 10 Daily Habits to Love, Peace, and Success. I'll be sure to link it in the episode description for you. Okay, so when it comes to showing up as our multifaceted best selves, I want you to approach this quarterly check-in from a multifaceted perspective. What I mean by that is I want you to see where you are at in terms of your physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual self, in addition to where you are in terms of your professional aspirations. And I'm going to now share the process that I follow and recommend. But having said that, I want to, again, just acknowledge that there's many different ways that you can go about auditing and reflecting and course correcting on how you are showing up against those goals that you have for yourself. So to start, I think the first and foremost important thing we need to do is revisit what we initially set out for those areas of our life. Simply because we can't take stock and define what needs to be course corrected if we don't know what those things are. Go back and think about what those things were so that you can benchmark your progress against it. And again, as we spoke about, if there are any or some or all areas that you didn't define any objectives for, I want you to set some now. Again, just acknowledging that it's never too late to make those changes. And so maybe set some of those objectives with the end of the year in mind to keep this exercise simple and flowing in the name of the quarterly check-in. Next, I want you to think about what success would look like if you embody those characteristics or were successful in achieving your objectives. So this is the endpoint. And to make this more sustainable, I suggest you consider approaching that endpoint from a habit forming perspective versus setting out goals. And again, I talk about that in episode 1 of Anita Chat, how to make your New Year's resolution stick. So that's another reason why it's a good time to check out that episode if you want. Last but not least, I want you to break that big picture vision that you want to achieve by the end of the calendar year into chunks.
And again, for the simplicity of this exercise, let's talk in quarters. So, what might be reasonable to accomplish or embody in the first 3 months of the year, and then building on that in the second 3 months, and so on. And then, now that we have this completed, we can do the audit or alignment check in, depending on whether you are more of a corporate or a soul person. So, as a part of this check in, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. The 3 questions to ask yourself are: what worked well? What would I do differently? And does this still align with what I want? And the first 2 questions, what worked well and what would I do differently, I've actually adapted from Jeff Walker. And he used these questions in related to assessing the success of product launches. But to me, I think these questions work for all aspects of our life. So I'm adapting Jeff's brilliant questions to apply to this exercise. And second, I really like the framing of these questions from a growth mindset perspective. And I go into that in greater detail in episode 8 of Anita Chat, 4 hacks to shift you into success mindset. So that also may be an episode that you want to check out. But anyways, from those 2 questions, what worked well and what would I do differently, you're able to determine what you want to continue and what needs to be course corrected. And that really then opens up floodgates of exploration and reflection to figure out what types of changes might we want to make. The third question, does this still align with what I want, is really speaking to something so much more encompassing. And that is really, how does this relate or resonate with our soul, with our authentic purpose, with our authentic goals, with our authentic nature? What is it that we really truly want to create or work towards? And so obviously things need to be in alignment with what we want. If it's not aligned, we need to course correct by creating something that is aligned, plain and simple. But if something is aligned, then we can look at what aspects of it are working well and what you would do differently. And you could also apply those learnings to other aspects of your life. So, boom, my friends, that's it. Those are the 3 questions that I ask myself in terms of all the domains to give me a good indication if I'm on the right path and to give me some insights into what to continue and where to course correct to get me to my desired outcome. For me personally, I've done a good job in hitting my self-care and interpersonal domains this quarter. I think the area that needs the most focus for me is the professional. And that makes sense since I've launched as a new entrepreneur and I'm getting up to speed. Not on coaching, I've been doing that for a long time, but all things that support me in providing the service, such as technology and platforms and all that kind of stuff. So for me, the needle is moving in the right direction, but not quite at the pace that I would have thought. Some areas have exceeded my expectations altogether, and other areas are not even close. But when I was planning out this year, I had no frame of reference. So I'm showing myself some grace. Also, at the beginning of the year, I was very aware of my desire to learn and the pitfalls of consuming more than creating, because I tend to do that. It's really comfortable for me to want to move into learning more than consuming. And I think I've lost sight of that a little bit over the past 12 weeks. This audit has given me a gentle reminder to keep at doing the work versus signing up for all the courses. Also, 12 weeks in, I have what I like to call shiny object syndrome. I want to do all the things, and there's a million and one creative ideas running through my head at all times. But of course, we have a finite amount of time and resources. So as I head into Q2, I need to park those ideas and give myself permission to revisit them once I have momentum in the work that I've already started. Also, for me, with all the new learning and the ambitious objectives I've set in other aspects of my business, my book writing has pretty much come to a standstill. So that's definitely got to be picked up again. And I'll be holding myself accountable to that one for sure. And so, my friends, whether you speak the language of the spreadsheets or the stars, this is my quarterly audit or alignment process. I think I'll make it a point to dedicate a chat episode to this every quarter as a prompt for all of us. I know it really kept me honest. My friends, as always, I would love to hear from you. So shoot me a DM or email to let me know how you are doing towards achieving your big dreams and what they are. I am right there cheering you and me along. And of course, if you need any support, I'm more than happy to get on a quick call with you as a coach to help you get to the finish lines. Feel free to snag a copy of my free guide, The 10 Daily Habits to Love, Peace, and Success. And of course, feel free to reference those other podcast episodes that I mentioned to help you in this process. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Anita Chat podcast. If you haven't taken a minute to leave a review, I would absolutely love to hear from you. All you need to do is to search for the show, click your star rating, and type in a few words. Also, if there's a specific topic you'd like to see covered in this podcast, if you'd like me to be your coach, or if you want to just chat, feel free to send me an email or shoot me a message through my IG, which you'll find in the show notes. The show notes will also contain any links to the freebies that were referenced in this episode. Until next time, friends, it's been great chatting with you.